looks too ugly. Call it long term so we don't leave. Then it halts, then it drops, then it don't come back. Screens go quiet, no one in the chat. All that talk about diamond hands turns to should've sold real fast. Yeah, we thought we couldn't lose. Now we're learning how it crashes. Yeah, we laughed at risk, called it outdated. Said this time is different, swear. Every bag gets heavier when you weight it, but nobody wants to carry it. Influencers turning into ghosts, group chats going dead by noon. Everybody had conviction till the market changed the tune. Then it halts, then it drops, then it don't come back. Screens go quiet, no one in the chat. All that talk about diamond hands turns to should've sold real fast. Yeah, we thought we couldn't lose. Now we're learning how it crashes. No one rings a bell when it's over. No headline tells you you're late. It just slips out from under your numbers and leaves you there with the web. Then it halts, then it drops, then it don't come back. Screens go quiet, no one in the chat. All that talk about diamond hands turns to should've sold real fast. Yeah, we thought we couldn't lose. Now we're learning how it crashes.
Oh, brother, oh, brother, oh, brother. Good morning, and welcome back to another episode of the Matt Kohrs Show. Sorry, we are having some technical issues connecting to Rumble server, which is why we are delayed today, but I think we should now be all good. Is that not work? Why am I seeing a stream that is now disconnected, but I'm not? Are you guys on the wrong stream on YouTube? How many streams are up? Did it torpedo everything? If you are on Rumble, if you are on YouTube, there is but you guys can't hear me anyway. What happened? We're having weird disconnection issues. Content. I'm just trying to fix it all up. I have found a backup service to take care of us for the day, so I think we should be somewhat okay. That one, we are live over there. Oh wow, that is completely wrong. Hang on, let me text my producer. There are two on YouTube. Fix that. Folks, we're having some technical difficulties. We're having server connection issues. For once, a positive aspect is that it is not. This one says it's live. Connect to your encoder. Okay, so we are good over there, but I need to, I guess, edit everything from over here. We did this one. Yeah, some servers are very much down today. Let me update that. Okay, so that should be good. I don't think there's a thumbnail or anything. I think this is just completely busted up today. But we're working. Good news, bad news. I guess I'm happy that it's not my computer, but also my computer is still the old computer from last week. As I'm waiting for my new computer to get sent, we're kind of just ripping it a little randomly with the current one. So hopefully there is not a bad crash on my end. But not necessarily the way I want to be starting off the show. But that's all right, because I already know all the important things that I need to explain to you folks this morning. So we're hopefully there. I don't know what the hell is happening. Let me check this one out. Oh, okay, live now. So we don't need to delete forever. Yes, I understand. Delete that one forever. Okay, I think this is going to be the best I can currently get it. First question. Oh, hang on. I need chat. I have YouTube chat, that's working, but I'm still blocked out from Rumble chat. Is that a Rumble chat and YouTube chat? If you guys can hear me, see me, can I get a quick thumbs up so I know that I'm not just talking to myself again into the endless oblivion that is the internet? Give me a quick little thumbs up or hit one or just something to know that you can properly hear me, see me, all that good stuff so I can actually rip it. Good. Okay, I'm getting confirmation over here on YouTube. What about on Rumble? Okay, good. Okay, folks, unfortunately that killed 15 minutes, but that's all right. I don't need 15 minutes to explain what is going on today. We have craziness going on today, and it goes a little bit something like this. Dow futures jumped 900 points after Trump says U.S. and Iran have held productive talks. So that's the big news. This dropped at 7:05 this morning. This is Donald J. Trump's True Social account, obviously the president, posting at 7:05 this morning. I am pleased to report that the United States of America and the country of Iran have had, over the last 2 days, very good and productive conversations regarding a complete and total resolution of our hostilities in the Middle East, based on the tenor and tone of these in-depth, detailed, and constructive conversations, which will continue throughout the week. I have instructed the Department of War to postpone any and all military strikes against Iranian power plants and energy infrastructure for a 5-day period, subject to the success of the ongoing meetings and discussions. Thank you for your attention on this matter, President Donald J. Trump. That is breaking news as of today, Monday, March the 23rd, 7:05 ET, and you could pretty much line that up exactly where it was announced right here. God candle to the upside on the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, Bitcoin, and then oil obviously going the other way, and volatility obviously also going the other way. So right now, a little bit of a bullish surprise very, very early this morning. If you were like me and you got up, caught short in that, I mean, I was short at 6:30 or maybe even early, maybe it was 5:30. There was some sort of bounce. Yeah, it was around 5:30. I was in a short position riding it down. And actually around 6:30, 6:45, I was feeling really good. I saw a lot of green in my account. I thought, man, what a way to get rocking today. And then ripped against me. So fortunately, I was able to manage it somewhat. I do want to switch this up just so you guys can see where I'm at. Let me switch myself over here. I just kind of want to be open and transparent of where I'm at. I did take, I got clobbered at one point, down 4.6, down 4.6. And this was all red. I know this looks a lot better than it actually seems. Like you're probably thinking, Matt, you made money. Matt, you made money. No, at one point, this was blood red. I got destroyed. So I'm happy that I was able to quickly switch up gears, read what the news was, play a little bit. I did wait for the pullback, and honestly, if this keeps going, I might be able to make a little bit more. I'm trying to I mean, you could even see the slippage. On some of these FFN accounts, I was fine. Other ones, I'm still actually legitimately down on. So I guess just doing my best to get out of the hole. It did cost me some Tradeify accounts, so I quickly got new Tradeify accounts and ran those up to 3.6. So these are not the same Tradeifys that you've historically seen, just in an effort to be transparent. These are the same take profit accounts. That's why a 1.6 gain put me at 159, so I passed those. These are the Legend accounts you've previously seen. These are the Lucid accounts you've previously seen, and these are the FFN accounts. So the new guys are right here, these Tradeifys. But as much as you're seeing green right now, yeah, there's a little bit of red, namely these two FFN accounts, which once again just came with the craziness of that pop at market open. I was caught short. Try to flip it, bad slippage, crazy different fills and misses across the board. So we're going to see how this is going today. But obviously, quite a bit of insanity, if you ask me. So that is the first part of this story, but there's two interesting aspects of this that I really want to get into before that market opens in 10 minutes. So if you're just joining right now, the reason the market had such a big pop was basically because Trump went to Truth Social and said, hey, guess what, guys? This conflict with Iran, it's pretty much over. But that's not where the story ends. With respect to that particular story, I do want to show you financial, where is it? Juice. I want to show you kind of an important update right here. Japanese government considering intervention in oil markets. No, they're not going to have to do that anymore. Mirren. I don't care about Mirren. I care about the breaking news from Iran, where they were basically saying, right here, Iran's Fars news agency, there are no direct communication with U.S. nor through intermediaries. Kind of interesting that Trump is saying, hey, guess what, guys? We pretty much solved this. We are A-OK. We are good to go. And they're basically saying, we're not talking at all. So obviously, these simultaneously both can't be true. You can't have one side saying we are having phenomenal progress with these discussions, it's almost over, and then the other side saying, who are you? So a little confusing there. Trump retreated after hearing Iran would target all power plants in West Asia. Right here, Iran's news is calling Trump's comment psychological warfare. And right here, like kind of the, I guess, dagger in the coffin from Iran. There have been no talks. There are no talks. So who is telling the truth? Who is not telling the truth? I have absolutely no clue. If you're guessing right now, you have a 50-50 shot. But obviously, both of these statements cannot be simultaneously true. They are, in fact, mutually exclusive. Either you are talking or you're not talking. One of them has to be true. So that's why the market popped, and that's why we gave a little bit back. But I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that the market does trust Trump and the U.S. more than it trusts Iran. And we're seeing that in price action because obviously if they trusted what Iran's news media had to say, we would have given this whole thing already back. And instead we've given back about what, 1/4, 1/5 of it. So the market is weighing in and basically saying, hey, based on this initial pop of the conflict, quote unquote, being over, the fact that we've given back 1/4 of it, they're basically saying, yeah, we trust Trump 75%. So the market is, as of now, and I'm not telling you who's right or wrong, I'm just commenting on the fact that, I mean, even vol fell, came back a little bit. Let me go back to oil. Oil fell, came back a little bit. So it's not necessarily pricing in the situation that Trump is clearly 100% being truthful, but it is seemingly pricing in the situation that they are trusting in Trump's commentary more than Iran's commentary. Now, will that hold? Like I said, your guess is as good as mine, literally just commenting on how things are currently playing out. But that is, I guess, a pretty crazy way to kickstart the final full trading week in the month of March. Kind of a crazy way to get going with a week in general. Kind of a crazy day to start a trading day. But yeah, the SPY going from 642 all the way up to 666. I mean, that's a huge pop. NQ popped, what, 600 points, 700 points? Absolutely crazy. absolutely crazy. Freezing a little on the stream on Rumble. Yeah, Rumble's having technical issues. I don't know what to tell you, but Rumble Studio went down today. We had various issues connecting to the stream. I had to reload the stream key. If you're having issues on Rumble for the day, like I said, it seems like they're running into some technical issues. So if you want, just go to the YouTube stream or go to the Facebook stream. So if you are having issues with the stream, I'm hoping that these technical issues are just short-lived and hopefully they could figure it out like now. But I can tell you that on their side, like I said, we already had issues connecting to their servers and whatnot. So something is going on there and I'm hoping that it's short-lived. But if it does persist, I could completely understand how that's annoying, especially on such a big day like today where like seemingly we're getting some pretty crazy freaking news. I completely understand if you might want to switch it up for a little bit. And like I said, we are seeing, let me just double check for you guys. Yes, we are running perfectly fine on Facebook, The Matt Kohrs Show, and we are running perfectly fine on YouTube, The Matt Kohrs Show. It just seems as if The Matt Kohrs Show variant on Rumble is having a little bit of an issue. We are successfully connected, so we're not getting rejected from their server anymore, but I am seeing a little bit of the packets not getting fully accepted over there. So like I said, maybe it's just a case of the Mondays, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we can figure that out. But hopefully it's just a one-day thing. I'll make sure to file a support ticket with their team right after this and just send in my data so we can track down whatever that issue is. But anyway, obviously, that's the big news of today, which, like I said, the second thing you need to be paying attention to. So first thing is understanding what the news is. Market up, oil down. Hey, conflict over. That's a good thing. That's bueno. I don't know if it's going to happen, but something that you have to keep in your mind here is maybe the fact, just maybe, that Trump is, I guess, doing some form of like psychological warfare, and there is a potential development that it comes out that we're not talking with Iran at all, and that would obviously send us all the way back down. I guess, of course, it could come out the other way that Iran's lying, and then we just keep popping. Obviously, that could also be true, and that's more from like the narrative. What I want to drive home to you folks is really the most telling aspect of it is right here. Coming into market close on Friday, coming into market open today, my big head's blocking it, we were heavily favoring put skews. So the left side is put skew dominant. The right side is call skew dominant. I'm majorly looking at the Mag 7, Microsoft, AMD, Avago, Amazon, Meta, Apple, Google, like mainly the Mag 7 with a couple little extra ones. So remember, these do not start trading until market open at 9:30 a.m. So they cannot start trading until about 4 minutes from now. But what's already trading are the actual ETFs, the Qs, IWM, NDX, SPY, SPX. So that means right now people playing individual equities are very much clearly stuck in like 99 percentile put positions, as in the put skew is dominant, and right now they're going to be feeling some pressure at market open. So this could go one of two ways. The market could open and we could dump. People could say, you know what, this actually isn't good news, and we could go right back down. And obviously those people holding puts, they're going to feel fine. Yeah, they're going to feel a little bit of smoke right at market open, but you never know which way it's going to trend. The other way, which I personally think is a little bit more likely, is that all of these people holding puts are going to say, uh-oh, we don't really need these bearish positions. We don't need these hedge positions because it feels as if the Iran conflict is over. Time to get out. What happens when you get out of puts? What happens when in mass the market drops puts like no others? Couple very interesting mathematical feedback loops. Number one, you remove a bunch of negative delta. Remember, delta is a measure of the bullishness and or bearishness of whatever the overall market, the equity you're looking at, whatever it is. You can read the delta on it. As people are buying calls and selling puts, that pushes the delta higher and higher and higher. As people are buying puts and selling calls, that pushes the delta lower and lower and lower. Right now, we're in a pretty extreme low delta situation because the put skew is so heavy. A lot of people are long puts for protection. As you unwind that, that pushes the delta higher. So that's one thing that you have to consider in terms of the influence. The second thing you have to consider is as we are going higher, people are like, oh, this might just be the bottom. So I might actually want to FOMO into some calls, or maybe I want to sell some puts. That's another secondary thing that could push the delta higher and higher and higher. And as that happens, generally you see price also go up. So as you see price go up, you generally see the reciprocal action in the world of volatility. So right now we see the SPY going higher and higher and higher. Volatility is going lower and lower and lower, which means that the market makers who were protecting their books by hedging out all those puts, because remember, everyone was long puts, well, they don't have to hedge as much, and they really don't have to hedge as much as people get out of puts. So you get various influences, people FOMOing to call, people FOMOing out of puts, people selling puts. So you see a giant transition in delta, you see a giant transition in volatility. You put that all together, and what's it called? It's called a Vanna rally. VANNA. If I don't explain it well enough, feel free to search it. If you want to get, I don't know, a reminder of what it is, search it. But we have all of the ingredients for a legitimate full-on Vanna rally. Now, just because we have the ingredients doesn't mean we're going to be cooking up an apple pie today, just because you have everything you need. So by no means should we, I guess, be betting on it. It's just something to monitor throughout the day. And obviously, we're going to be able to directly monitor it by seeing what's going on in terms of options flow. Like, that's what the Hero tool is for. If we see people on the Mag 7 and on the S&P 500 buying calls like no other, selling puts like no other, and we see that happen as volatility is getting crushed, that is like the telltale sign that, guess what? We are living in a full-on Vanna rally, which is something I'm uniquely interested in for today. Speaking of which, dingity ding ding ding, the world's largest casino is now open. Best of luck to all, play responsibly, and if not, have fun. All right. How is this going? Well, that's not going exactly how I would like it to be completely honest. I kind of wanted this just to be Rip City out of the gate, but also minute one is kind of a guess. We do have a downside gap fill on the S&P 500 that is right at 656.69. It is the high from Friday, so pay close attention to that. There is no downside gap fill, at least from Friday's trading session on the Qs. We're pretty much right at the high, so pay attention very closely to that. And then looking at the S&P 500 for those of you who need these levels, where was it? Do I need to go to the 10-minute? Where is it? Hang on. Let's go to the daily here, and let's go to this. Yeah, we already did get it on the SPX. So the actual S&P 500, like the true index, did already get its downside gap fill. The high on Friday was 6593, and we quickly hit that, and now we're seemingly recovering right above 6,600. So watching that, obviously these are some of my key levels that I'm paying attention to today. But the main thing you need to know is this could get actually very, very crazy with a Vanna rally. Obviously, we should be paying attention to any news of, is this confirmed? Is it not confirmed? As you can see here, Monday, March the 23rd, there's no scheduled major macroeconomic announcements, so we don't have to worry about something crazy happening at 10 a.m. or something like that. There are a lot of speaking Fed members, so you never know what they're going to say or not say, so something to pay attention to there. We're not really in earnings season, so I just wanted to call out that we're not going to get a surprise like report from Nvidia or Apple or Microsoft this week. If anything, we're kind of in more of a lull period with respect to earnings, so we don't have to be surprised on that front. So the name of the game today truly is to monitor the situation as it relates to, okay, can we get confirmation or denial of what's happening in Iran? Like, did we actually come to some sort of agreement that we're not going to be slinging missiles at each other anymore? Because if so, I would say with pretty high odds that this could really lead to a extreme positive feedback loop, especially in the options market, which right now, because of the dominance of the options market, that could lead to a gigantic push to the upside, which in this particular case, really considering the setup coming into market close on Friday and coming into market open today, would be a full-fledged Vanna rally. So I would say right now the quote-unquote tail risk is actually in favor of the bulls and it's against the bears just because of the extreme put positioning going into market close on Friday. There's a lot of people with a lot of puts who are licking their wounds with what percentage gap up? SPY gapping up 1.3, the Q's gapping up 1.4, the Russell gapping up 1.8, Bitcoin's up 4.2, Nvidia's up 2.8, Palantir is up 4%, and it's cooking. Look at Bitcoin having a good day. It's at 71. That could recover to 74, 75 easily today. Nvidia, the biggest company in the world, is currently up 2.8, and that's cooking. Like I said, folks, we're going to be able to track the data, and just to kind of further break it down and explain it, because I know sometimes this gets a little nerdy, it gets a little bit in the weeds, but if you ask me, this is actually the most enjoyable, the coolest part of trading, is actually understanding the math behind what the hell is happening and what is not happening. So anyway, you can see here the S&P 500 is on one and then the Mag 7 is on the other. Generally, you could put the calls and the puts together, but in this situation, I kind of do want to monitor them separately because obviously you could be bullish, straight up bullish by going up and people buying calls. That's a bullish bet. You could also be going up because lack of bearishness, as in you're going up because of the removal of negative delta, which would be the removal of puts. So in my mind, it's important to know what's happening to price action, like generically higher highs, higher lows, like that type of a thing. But I also want to know the derivative market under it. Like I said, are we going up because of a legitimate bullishness, or is it lack of bearishness, or vice versa to the downside? Are we going down because people are actually bearish? They're actually buying puts. They're betting on that continuation. Or is it the other side where like, yeah, they just don't want to be in calls anymore and they're getting out of calls? So that's what we're monitoring here with the 4 lines. The 2 blue lines are puts. If that is trending from bottom left to top right, that means people are selling puts. If it's trending down, that means people are buying puts. Now, the opposite is true with the green and the orange. If the green and the orange are going up, that means people are buying calls. If they're going down, that means people are selling calls. So they do have, obviously, because calls and puts are perfectly reciprocal of each other, the way you would interpret this chart is perfectly opposite. And then the final thing that I haven't spoken about on this chart is the white line, which is the underlying price of the S&P 500, which, surprise, surprise, is just at a key level. We're at the key technical, psychological gamma level of 6,600. Obviously, people love trading these $100 rungs, and we're right at the high from Friday. So we're just in an important zone. I don't know who's going to win. I can tell you if they don't win, the next support is at 6,550. If the bulls do win, I could see it pop up to 6,630, 6,635, something like that. So right now, I am in a position just from the extreme pre-market trading. I was about to say I'm in no position, but that would not be the truth. I am trying to get some evals passed today, and unfortunately, I was extraordinarily close. I needed 24,649, and how close did it get? I think it got to 48. It got to 48, so I was off by a point, and now we're, 200 points below where we were, so that sucks for me. Monday is a trash day. I don't agree with that. I actually really enjoy trading on Mondays. And once again, this is all personal. Like maybe for you and your trading style and your trading strategy, maybe Monday does not do so well. Like obviously, all styles, frameworks, systems, they do have an aspect of seasonality, doing better at certain points and worse at other points. For me, I actually do really, really well. My system, Icarus, performs very well on Mondays. My manual trading on Mondays is generally really good. So like just reviewing some of my journal stuff, Mondays, I'm actually a big fan. But once again, I know that obviously it's like from person to person. Just because it's good for me doesn't mean it's necessarily good for you. For example, my stuff sucks on Thursdays, but your stuff might rock on Thursdays. You might love trading on Thursdays. So there is an aspect of like, you just don't know how stuff either will or won't do. So kind of excited about that, but we're about to be popping here. We're about to be popping. Okay, 7 PV. Okay, I have a lot of distance to go. I somehow like disconnected my FFN account. So the 7 PV, 7 PV, 7 PV, these 5 are all FFN funded futures networks. As you can see, 3 out of the 5 did well, and I was able to lock in 2.2, 2.3, 2.6. So happy with that. But then the other two are actually deeply red right now. They're down 4.6. So just with the craziness of what happened this morning, there was data disconnections, there was extreme slippage, there was just a lot of stuff going on. So in reality, even though I wish they were all locked in at 2.3, I'm just happy I didn't lose the accounts and all. And honestly, with what could happen today, these things could really probably get moving. So I'm not going to complain in the slightest. Not going to complain, but I was able to successfully pass these 5 TPT evals right here, 159, 159, 159, 159, 159. So that's awesome. Those 5 accounts done. These Tradeify accounts, which are brand new as of today, I did blow out the other 5 Tradeify evals this morning on that craziness. Bought 5 more, maxed those out, 3.6, 3.6, 3.6, 3.6, because remember, you can only do 40%. So that's 40% of 9,000. So basically, done with TPT on the day, done with Tradeify on the day. These Legends accounts, you're allowed to pass in one day, so I'm literally just going for $9,000. Legends, similar to Apex, you are allowed to pass the eval in one day, so I just have a profit target all the way up here for exactly $9,000. If it hits, I think that could be awesome. So those are these ones, 1, 2, 3. Then the LFS is Lucid. You guys already know that I'm only going for $250 a day. So I already hit that. So those are locked in, done there. I'm done on 3 of the 5 FFNs. So pretty much just trading those 2 and trading these 3. Other than that, locking in some nice green. Locking in some nice green. I would love a pop to 649. That would be sick. That would be sick. I'm seeing some optimism here in SPX. And like I said, we are looking, we're starting to see it. Some of these puts are getting sold. Some of these calls are starting to get bought. I want to see more put selling on the Mag 7, but we're seeing some and the call. Folks, we could see a I'm talking a full-fledged Vanna rally today, something to be mindful of. Of course, we can wait a little bit, be a bit more patient, and really ensure that that is happening. I want to see this blue line rip from bottom left to top right. That is put selling. Put selling removes negative delta from the system. You remove negative delta from the system, it means that market makers don't have to be as short to hedge out their book. So they're buying back some of the shorts. That's a natural buyer in the market. When you have a natural buyer in the market, that pushes volatility lower and lower. As volatility goes lower, more people get out of their puts. That means market makers don't have to be as short. They get out of that. All of a sudden, you go up enough that people are excited, so they start to buy calls. How do market makers hedge out people buying calls? They buy the underlying, pushing it even higher. What happens when we push it even higher? Vol falls even more. So that in a nutshell is the positive feedback loop. It is the quote unquote snowball effect of a Vanna rally. Am I guaranteeing it today? No, but you could bet your bottom dollar that we're going to be closely monitoring it to see if it's happening. But I do want to call out one very important I suppose mathematical volatility nuance here. Generically, if you think that this is the bottom right here, like here's the 30-minute of SPX, like if you are looking for some sort of V-shaped recovery, I want to let you know that playing short dated, or really the most extreme short dated, 0 DTE out of the money calls, that is the worst thing you can possibly do. I am not here to tell you to not, I'm not telling you to not be bullish. I am bullish. My bias is bullish. I'm saying mechanically going out of the money calls, like buying out of the money calls, is your worst option. If you really want calls, you should either be doing at the money calls or you should be doing call debit spreads. Debit, not credit, debit spreads. A more conservative way to do it, if you want to represent a bullish opinion of the market, is to sell puts. You could even do at the money puts if you wanted to. Another way to do it, if you don't want to deal with the time or the volatility crush, is just in futures market. You could go long ES. You can go long NQ. There are many, many, many ways to represent a bullish opinion. And in this unique circumstance where we're looking for volatility to get crushed, that is the worst time to get out of the money calls. If you are buying out of the money calls, you're Like, I actually legitimately think you're going to be right in terms of your price prediction, but unfortunately, you're going to be wrong with volatility, because as you go up, volatility comes down. What is one of the major aspects in the extrinsic value portion of your options? It's going to be volatility. So for you to be right in the price movement, you're wrong on the other side of the equation. Trump is talking live on CNBC. Thank you. Come on. This is probably important. Come on. Where is it?
Iran's foreign ministry says you're not telling the truth when it comes to productive conversations to end the war.
They're going to have to get themselves better public relations people. We have had very, very strong talks. We'll see where they lead. We have major points of agreement. I would say almost all points of agreement. Perhaps that hasn't been conveyed. The communication, as you know, has been blown to pieces. They're unable to talk to each other. But we've had very strong talks. Mr. Witkoff and Mr. Kushner had them. They went, I would say, perfectly. I would say that if they carry through with that, it'll end that problem, that conflict. And I think it'll end it very, very substantially. We have very much in mind our partners in the Middle East. We've had great relationships with a lot of them, as you know. A lot of them were surprisingly hit. And I was surprised to see it, and so was everyone else. But we have, they're very much in mind in the discussions. So the discussions took place yesterday. They went into yesterday evening. They want very much to make a deal. We'd like to make a deal, too. We're going to get together today by probably phone, because it's very hard to find a country. It's very hard for them to get out, I guess. But we'll at some point very, very soon meet. We're doing a 5-day period. We'll see how that goes. And if it goes well, we're going to end up with settling this. Otherwise, we'll just keep bombing our little hearts out.
Who is Steve Witkoff speaking with, Mr. President?
Speaking with in Iran.
A top person. Don't forget, we've wiped out the leadership phase 1, phase 2, and largely phase 3. But we're dealing with the man who I believe is the most respected and the leader. It's a little tough. We've wiped out everybody.
Is that the Supreme Leader?
No, not the Supreme Leader.
So
We don't.
not much talk
Well,
about
nobody heard of the second Supreme Leader, the son.
Are these direct?
We have not heard from the son. Every once in a while you'll see a statement made, but we haven't. We don't know if he's living. But the people that seem to be running it, and they seem that based on really fact, because things they've said have taken place.
Mr. President, Mr. President, I know you deployed.
Because I don't want him to be killed. Okay? I don't want him to be killed.
Mr. President, you deployed.
Nobody wants to be that. Nobody wants that job right now, you know? Nobody's exactly looking forward to being the head of that particular country, but perhaps we'll be able to solve that problem.
Mr. President, you deployed ICE agents to American airports today. Newsmax, sir. You've deployed ICE agents.
You're not doing a very good job.
You deployed ICE agents.
You're not doing a good job. Did you hear me? Okay, go ahead.
What exactly do you want from
You
these
believe in
talks?
taking CNN over Newsmax?
What
You believe
exactly
it?
are you looking for in these talks, Mr. President?
We're looking for all of the things that we've been talking about. We want to see no nuclear bomb, no nuclear weapon, not even close to it. Low key on the missiles. We want to see peace in the Middle East. We want the nuclear dust. We're going to want that, and I think we're going to get that.
Uranium?
We've agreed to that. Yeah, we've agreed to that.
You want the enriched uranium before you can end this.
And we want no enrichment, but we also want the enriched uranium. If this happens, it's a great start for Iran to build itself back, and it's everything that we want. And it's also great for Israel, and it's great for the other Middle Eastern countries, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, all of them, Kuwait and Bahrain in particular. So it's great for all of them.
If the war is ending, do you still need $200 billion?
It's always nice to have. It's always nice to have. It's a very inflamed world, and the Democrats inflame it. You know, largely the Democrats inflame it. Let me just talk about the others. So ICE has done very well. I've requested. Now, you know, I'm a big believer that they should be able to wear masks when they go and hunt down
murderous criminals and others. But for purposes of the airport, I've requested that they take off the mask. I don't like it for the airport, and I believe they are willing to do that.
Mr.
Why
President,
do they wear masks not at the airport, but they need to do it when they're out in the country?
The people coming into the airport, typically speaking, aren't murderers, killers, drug dealers, etc. There may be a few of them, but there aren't many. They're people that want to come into the country, or that people want to leave the country, go into maybe their home country. So I didn't think it was an appropriate look for an airport. I think it's a very appropriate look when they're out on the street trying to find one of the 11,888 murderers that Sleepy Joe Biden led into our country.
Elon Musk, sir.
Last year you gave a $10,000 bonus. Sorry. Last year you gave a $10,000 bonus to TSA workers who kept showing up to work during the shutdown. Will you do that again?
Well, it could there it's amazing. There are people that are really, really loyal and great, and it's not easy for them. And this is all caused by the Democrats. Just so you know, all this money was approved. Everything was approved. This is done. The Democrats went in, and they want to have radical left lunatics come into our country. They want to have drug dealers. They want to have murderers come into our country. They want to have open borders, and we're not letting it happen. That's what this is all about. They don't want voter ID. They don't want proof of citizenship. They don't want mail-in ballots. They're so corrupt. What they want, the only thing they want is mail-in ballots. So we also added, as you know, into the Save America Act. And it's called Save America. It's not the Save Act. But we added no transgender mutilization of our children and no men in women's sports.
Elon Musk, sir. If these talks go well, and you reach
I don't think he's going to be a Disney club.
if these talks go well and you reach a ceasefire agreement with Iran, do you believe Israel would abide by that agreement?
I think Israel will be very happy with what we have. We just spoke to Israel a little while ago. I think they'll be very happy. This will be peace for Israel, long-term peace, guaranteed peace. If this happens, and I can't guarantee it, but I think it's going to. My life is a deal. That's all I do is deals my whole life. I think this is something that's going to happen. And why wouldn't it happen? So tomorrow morning sometime, their time, we were expected to blow up their largest electric generating plants that cost over $10 billion to build. It's a very good one. There was no dearth of money. And one shot, it's gone. It collapses. Why would they want that? So they called. I didn't call. They called. They want to make a deal. And we are very willing to make a deal. It's got to be a good deal. And it's got to be no more wars, no more nuclear weapons. They're not going to have nuclear weapons anymore. They're agreeing to that. Any of that stuff, there's no deal.
Have they offered to reopen the
How are you going
target.
You said you want to get the enriched uranium. How are you going to get the enriched uranium? Are you going to
It's
send
very easy. If we have a deal with them, we're going down and we'll take it ourselves.
Can I ask you, the Treasury lifted sanctions on Iranian oil that was out to sea. You criticized President Obama for giving Iran $1.7 billion.
Well, I just want to have as much oil in the system as possible.
But Iran is
And we don't even know if Iran gets that money. Frankly, I think it's very hard for them to get it. But you have ships that are out there that are loaded up with oil. Rather than keep it there, I would rather see it go to the system. Any small amount of money that Iran gets is not going to have any difference in this war. But I want to have the system be lubricated.
Even $14 billion, you don't think helps them?
Where's the $14 billion?
Because the inflated price, they get $14 billion from the.
I don't think they're getting the money. I could tell you, when this is all over, I will tell you who's getting the money.
Mr. President,
the Marines from California, given that it'll take them weeks to arrive, is the intention to police the strait or take over?
What are you doing?
Well, it's been reported that there are Marines that left California, left San Diego last week, at the end of the week. Why are they headed there now?
Well, let me ask you this. If you were in my position and I asked you that question, do you really believe I'd give you an answer? It's a crazy question.
Mr. President,
we don't talk about strategy. Yeah?
Another woman was killed by an illegal immigrant. That was why they not
Let
the Biden administration.
let in by Biden.
Give a message for her family.
It's devastating. These people were let in by Biden. We're getting them out. We're getting them out fast.
Pump
That's
it,
why
Trump.
ICE is so important.
Pump it,
They're doing
Trump.
such a good job. This
Pump it, Trump.
this animal, I saw the whole thing last night. They gave me a briefing.
Come on,
came in
Trump,
through
pump
Joe
it.
Biden with
Let's
his
hear that
open door
608.
policy
Pump
and
it,
his border
Trump.
czar, Kamala, who never saw the border. Never made one phone call. All the ICE people, you see, they all know me. Everyone knows me. They like me. I speak to them all the time. Didn't make one phone call during 4 years.
Pump it,
She was the
Trump.
border czar.
Pump it.
To anybody on the border.
Pump
Never went
it.
there. This person came in through the open door policy of Joe Biden, and we have others. We're taking them out by the tens of thousands.
Go.
We're doing a great job.
Pump
but,
it, Trump.
It's a shame.
Pump it.
They've hurt our
Pump
country.
it.
Just remember this.
Trump,
Joe Biden
Trump,
and that
Trump,
gang
Trump,
of
Trump,
radical
Trump,
left lunatics,
go.
some very smart,
Go.
but radical left and bad ideology, sick people. These people have hurt our country very badly.
Are we directly talking with Iran?
Go. Trump, pump.
How is that different from what Russia has been doing in Ukraine by hitting Ukrainian towns?
Well,
Trump
I think it's a lot
pump.
different.
Trump
And if you look
pump.
at the nuclear weapons that they wanted to have, that they wanted to possess, a lot of things are different.
9K.
I'm not a fan of what
Locked
Russia's
in.
doing
Locked
either,
in.
just so you
Locked
understand.
in.
All right?
All right, we're
It's a
still
lot
dealing with
different.
two
You're
more. There's
talking
still
about
two more
a
accounts that are live here, folks. We almost got the other one. We have two more. This one, we need 613, and we need 623. Next one up is 613.
Unexpectedly, all of those countries surrounding it. It was not supposed to be. Nobody was even thinking about it.
The Trump
But
pump.
they wanted to take over the Middle East, and they wanted to knock out Israel permanently. And if they had a nuclear weapon, they would have been able to do that.
Are we directly talking to Iran?
Mr. President, do you know whether Joe Kent was leaking?
Look, I'm not a fan of the guy. If you look at, and you never cover this, if you look at his truths or whatever he went on, if it's X or truth, if you look at his truths or his statements, he was all for everything. All of a sudden, he wasn't. He was a man that I met at Dover. He came and his wife was killed. He remarried fairly quickly. His wife was killed, and I felt badly for him. He ran for Congress, he lost. He ran for Congress again, and he lost. I said, you know, he's a guy, nice guy, seemed like a very nice guy. I met him. He was pretty heartbroken, But I said, you know, it's a shame. He ran for Congress twice.
No.
Call him up, give him a job in the White House. Smart. They gave him a job in the White House, and this is what he does to me, you know? Being a nice guy doesn't pay off too much.
Mr. President.
Think of it. He loses twice in Congress, ran not very good campaigns, should have won, but he loses twice. How do I get him? I have my people call him, because I didn't deal with him for the most part. I saw him a couple of times, but I never dealt with him at all. I had no idea his ideology was left or right, whatever it is. I can say this. He said very strongly that Iran is not a threat. Iran's been a threat for 47 years, and there's not a country in the world that doesn't agree with me on that. So I take this guy, Joe Kent, who lost twice for Congress, pretty badly and tough, and was devastated, and I know that he lost his wife. So instead of letting him live out his life, I brilliantly have my people call him and offer him a job in security, essentially, in the White House. And what does he do? He goes out and he says that Iran is not a threat to get publicity. Now, he probably signed up with CNN or maybe signed up with your division of Newsmax. I don't know, but probably signed up with CNN or somebody. But if you look at his tweets, X's or truths, whatever he uses, I don't know because I don't follow him. What he said is 100% he agrees with me. All of a sudden he leaves. I never knew he had a problem. Now, I hear they're looking at him for leaking. That's possible. But just so you understand, just to put it to rest, he lost twice badly. He also lost his wife. He's remarried since. He lost his wife. I felt badly for him. So I told my people, reach out to him, give him a job at the White House. This is the thanks I get. Any other questions?
He said Iran was not an imminent threat, that's what the intelligence showed.
I think it was an imminent threat. I think that Iran, if we didn't bomb them with the B-2 bombers, now that set them back, but if we didn't hit them with the B-2 bombers, they would have had a nuclear weapon within 2 weeks to a month. And if they had a nuclear weapon, they would have used it as soon as they got it.
If you obliterated their nuclear sites last summer with your strikes, then how can you argue it was an imminent threat now?
Oh, we hit them so hard, we obliterated them. But that doesn't mean with the right equipment, you can't dig down and go get it. We don't want that, and we won't have that. But we obliterated that site. They still haven't been able to get it. That was a complete success. But if it wasn't, they would have had, if we didn't hit them, if we didn't use the B-2 bombers, which are unbelievable. We just ordered 22 more of them, modern version, by the way, super modern version. If we didn't hit them with the B-2 bombers, they would have had, within 2 weeks of that attack, that's why we hit them, because we knew they would have had a nuclear weapon. They would have used it on Israel and the entire Middle East.
Overall crime in Memphis is down 43% since you began this task force. Is this a template you think is
well?
working?
What I'm doing today, really, this was a little bit before, set up a couple of weeks ago. This was before we had this situation with Iran take place last night. And by the way, they're just not communicating. When they say, I'm sure they don't mean that. When somebody says, oh, I didn't know you were talking. We were talking last night, and I'm sure they have a lack of communication, which is appropriate considering we blew up, in addition to their Navy, Air Force, every division, their radar. We also blew up all of their anti-aircraft and communications. So they have no telecommunications.
No surprise
so there is a lack
talking.
I would imagine a lack of coordination.
If you're worried about the miscommunication,
well, we think all we can do is think. Look, we have numerous leader groups. They've all been killed. Very dangerous position. Khomeini was killed. Khomeini's son is unavailable. Nobody knows what happened to him. I can say they haven't seen him there either. Something is going on with him. But regardless, I don't consider him really the leader. But they do have some leaders left because we blew up group number 1, group number 2, a lot of group number 3. But we think we have people that are very representative of the country and will do a good job in representing.
Elon Musk has offered to pay TSA workers during this DHS shutdown. Is this something that you've been speaking to him about?
Yeah, I'd love it. I think it's great. Let him do that. And I want to thank ICE because they stepped in so strongly. They'll do great. And if that's not enough, I'll bring in the National Guard. We're not going to have the Democrats destroy our country. These people are the most destructive, sick people, the Democrats. They want, and they're fighting for this. They're fighting for men and women's sports. They're fighting for transgender for everybody. Everybody go out, 600. Get your kid a nice operation, and change the sex of your kid. They're fighting for, think of it. They don't want you to do voter ID. You walk into a booth. In California, if a person who's doing voting, an official, asks you for identification, they're subject to being arrested. What's wrong with this country? So we're fighting it hard. And I think they should, because the Democrats are being blamed for the shutdown, and it's their fault, and they're getting killed. That's why when I announced yesterday about ICE, the Democrats called. We want to settle. We want to settle. And I told the people, don't settle. Don't settle. Because we have something bigger. Only settle if you get the Save America Act, voter ID, and so important, proof of citizenship, etc. Thank you very much.
Whose idea was that? To put ICE at the airport.
We're dealing really.
Whose idea was it?
Mag 7 still strong. S&P 500 giving a little bit back, but did hit a delta high.
182 years ago, a man discovered the paperclip. It was so simple. And everybody that looked at it say, why didn't I think of that? ICE was my idea. First person I called was Tom Homan. I said, what do you think? He said, I think it's great. Then I saw today there was some masks on. I didn't think the masks were appropriate. I put out a statement and I asked them, would it be possible to take off the mask? Because they should wear a mask when they're dealing with the murderers and the thugs let into our country.
You said there's many points of agreement with Iran right now.
Many.
What, can you give us a
Many, like 15 points. 15 points.
15
Well,
points
they're not
of
going to have a
agreement.
nuclear weapon. That's number one. That's number 1, 2, and 3. They will never have a nuclear weapon.
said yes to that?
They've agreed to that.
Will we see illegal migrant arrests at airports, sir?
Arrests?
Will we see ICE arresting illegal migrants at airports?
Yeah, that's why the Democrats are going crazy. because they've allowed, by what they did, and hold up, we put ICE, who are a very high level, I mean, they really are a high level group of people. And they love it because they're able to now arrest illegals as they come into the country. That's very fertile territory.
Wow.
But that's not why they're there. They're really there to help.
Are we talking to Iran directly?
To no enrichment whatsoever, even for medical purposes?
No, come on.
Thank you.
What about the Strait of Hormuz? Who's going to be in
No.
control of
That'll
it?
be opened very soon if this works.
How soon? And who's in
Maybe-
control of it? Will
maybe-
Iran still be able to control the flow of oil?
Be jointly controlled.
By who?
Maybe me. Maybe me.
You want the United States to be in
Me
control of
and the
Strait of
Ayatollah, whoever the Ayatollah is, whoever the next Ayatollah. Look, and there'll also be a form of a very serious form of a regime change. Now, in all
Are
fairness,
you kidding?
everybody's been killed
Off
from
by half
the regime.
a point.
They're really starting
Half
off.
a
There's
point.
automatically a regime change. But we're dealing with some people that I find to be very reasonable, very solid. The people within know
I
who
can't
they are.
believe
They're
that.
very respected.
I can't.
And maybe one of them will be exactly what we're looking for. Look at Venezuela, how well that's working out. We are doing so well in Venezuela with oil and with the relationship between the president-elect and us. And maybe we find somebody like that in Iran.
Are you considering any more options to lower the price of oil while these stocks?
The price of oil will drop like a rock
Right.
as soon as a deal is done. I guess it already is today. No, we have a very serious chance of making a deal. That doesn't guarantee anything. I'm not guaranteeing anything. I'm not going to come out here in a week or 2 weeks and have you all say, oh, you said. I didn't say anything. All I'm saying is we are in the throes of a real possibility of making a deal. And I think if I were a betting man, I'd bet for it. But again, I'm not guaranteeing anything.
Pump?
They
Pump?
want to make a deal very badly. Thank you.
What changes would you like to see in DHS under Mark Wayne Mullen?
Well, he's going to be fantastic. He'll make his own change. He's already given me a list of people he wants to bring. He's a fantastic guy. I think he's just the right guy. You all know him. He's a very open, smart guy, very successful actually in business, which people don't know. And he's a friend of mine. I think Mark Wayne is going to be fantastic. Thank you.
Are these
Thank
direct
you.
talks to Iran?
President on the plane crash that happened
Terrible. They made a mistake. It's a dangerous business. That's terrible. Thank you.
All right, that was President Trump. Some wide-ranging comments on two key areas. One, of course, the war in Iran and talks to end it. The other, the presence of ICE agents in airports helping depleted TSA ranks. For the purposes of our audience and certainly what we focus on, let's talk about Iran because we got a lot of
Spy coming
potentially
undone a little bit.
bits of information from the president. It would appear that, according to the president, talks between at least some leadership faction in Iran, and he made it clear, it's like given how many
Pouncing
ranks
off
in
of
the leadership
VWAP,
have
regular
died.
training hours VWAP
It's
right
not
there.
completely clear the level of communication or exactly who is in charge. He did say, however, that those talks between both Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner perhaps began yesterday and continuing. They are going
I can't
well.
believe
He said
I've had
towards
this
the
at
end of his comments there's a
6:13
real
forever,
possibility,
and it
though
got
not
up
a
to
guarantee, that they will
612.5,
reach a
off
deal.
by
He talked
half
about
a point.
15 points
Two
of agreement
ticks.
and said numbers 1, 2, and 3 are all about them giving up any hopes of obtaining a nuclear weapon. He talked as well about the U.S. taking control of the enriched uranium that Iran already has, and coming back to it time and again said, if this happens, and I think it's going to, it will bring peace for Israel and for the region. He said as well that the threat from the U.S. of knocking out some of the key
is too much of a
generation
struggle.
facilities of electricity in the country.
No
and
soup
again, the
for you.
president said that Iran called
That's how it feels
the
today.
U.S. to initiate these talks. He said, I didn't call them. And he also indicated they have agreed to the provision of not having nuclear weapons. Sarah, well, a lot there, and certainly much of it seemingly positive for those who would think that an end to this conflict is near, and with a good resolution. Although, again, to use the president's word, there's no guarantee.
Also, for those that put too much stock in Iranian state media, whoever that is, saying we're not even talking with the U.S. I mean, I think the president was pretty clear and more detailed in these comments that talks are happening. You mentioned 15 points or so that there's agreement, including he said they agreed to not having a nuclear weapon. So it's optimistic. It's optimistic.
Said they're dealing with a man who is the leader.
A well-respected leader.
But
name
not
anybody.
the Ayatollah, obviously.
Maybe the new Ayatollah, he said. We don't know who the new Ayatollah will be.
Well, not the son of the former Ayatollah.
Right.
So, and then towards the very end of his comments as well, and asked about the Strait of Hormuz, which obviously
if you're in the Discord,
is not seeing a
Piper
great deal
just
of traffic,
fired.
hence the huge move up in oil prices until this morning. He said it could be jointly controlled, and then kind of jokingly said by me and the Ayatollah. But again, that does go to the idea of what the leadership in Iran will look like, whether there is an agreement, what that will ultimately really contain, Sarah, is still unknown, except we did get a lot of specifics around no nuclear weapons when the president was asked about that.
I think the market is speaking. The WTI crude is down 10% right now. So the market is buying the Trump optimism, and
it really is. Oil's
sort of
getting
let's pause
hit,
for
Bitcoin's
negotiations and discussions, trade, and as President Trump said, we'll see as soon as it opens up, which could be immediately if these talks succeed. You'll see oil prices drop like a stone, and we're already seeing that in anticipation of something hopefully happening here. Oil prices lower, stocks are higher. I mean, this has been the reversal of the trade. We're going to be all over this market reaction for you to these Iran developments. Coming up, we're going to hear from Energy Secretary Chris Wright. This is a first on CNBC interview.
Yeah, we don't need to listen to
oil plummets right now. Plus, global markets expert Ruchir Sharma is with us, along with tech investor Dan Niles, to break down the action in equities and how to invest in this volatile, headline-driven market. But David, it's worth looking at just what's happened so far, and the interesting new market dynamic that has developed this year as a result of some of the geopolitical tensions. Remember, all the doomsayers were saying there's been this sell America trade on since the tariffs. Can't trust the American assets, and people were pointing to the fact that U.S. bonds were down and the dollar was down and stocks were down. Well, Torsten Slok at Apollo took a crack at this and showed how many days basically this year that stocks, the dollar, and bonds sold off simultaneously, and it's just not happening. 9 days this year that happened. So that whole sell America trade, not a thing right now. During times of global turmoil, actually the U.S. dollar has been the winner. That has reasserted itself, and there are a few reasons for that. But one of them is that when you have this rise in the price of oil, other countries get hurt economically more than we do, because we don't import as much oil, say, as China and as Europe, certainly, as Korea. And so the U.S. has been sort of a relative safe haven trade. Even though it's felt painful for some of the U.S. equity investors, it's done better than the rest of the world so far. It's a complete reversal of the outperformance of the world versus the U.S. And I'll just end with the 10-year Treasury, because we have seen bonds sell off. It hasn't been much of a safe haven there, and we're 8-month highs on the 10-year yield. I do wonder, David, and I brought this up a few times, when the market is just really taking this as an inflation risk, high oil, inflation, but not considering the second order effects of demand destruction, what happens with growth, who's going to be the next Fed chair. I mean, some of the other sort of broader risks, employment that basically has stopped growing, job creation, all of that. So I wonder, it's reversing today, but these elevated yields have almost been myopically focused on the inflation story and oil.
Which got some good news, at least today.
Good news if we hope that these talks continue.
Yeah.
And the negotiations lead to an end to the war and to I think for the oil market, more importantly, the opening of the Strait of Hormuz.
Which, again, the president was asked about towards the very end of his comments.
Jointly controlled would be something.
I don't know what that means, and it's not clear exactly what it means.
Whether that's
when he goes on to say by me and the Ayatollah, how seriously can you take that? But it would be open.
You have to think that it factors into the negotiations. That has been Iran's point of leverage, is that they close the Strait of Hormuz and they, wreak havoc on the entire oil industry. So Look, if there's going to be a resolution to this, there needs to be a resolution to the fact that they can do that.
Well, one would expect if there's a ceasefire, they will stop
blocking it.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's hope.
Yeah. Let's get more on this market rally and bring in Ruchir Sharma, chairman of Rockefeller International, CIO of Breakout Capital. Ruchir, I mean, just this morning, a lot to talk about. What's your take in terms of what all this means?
The piece that I'd written this morning for the FT was the fact that America keeps bailing out.
All right. We don't need to listen to him. So if you're just tuning in, you might want to rewind a little bit. Trump was doing a, I guess, post-airplane quick little interview there. And I have to say, his comments do seem a bit more compelling. So to give you guys a very, very quick rundown, early this morning, I'm talking 7:05 a.m. ET. Hang on. I have to scroll back for it. He's been doing a lot of True Socials lately. Right here. This breakdown is basically saying, hey, we're making really, really good progress with Iran. In fact, we're going to do like a 5-day pause because things are good. And then not long after that, various Iranian news sources were saying, hey, actually, we haven't been speaking with the U.S. at all, period. And now, based on what Trump just said, he's basically saying, well, because the people we talk to are actually in power and the people you're talking to, we don't really view as like the leaders. So I kind of find that interesting. And I honestly find his explanation to be pretty solid, pretty reasonable. Dude, I am fucking crushing today. I am crushing today.
You getting mad?
I'm getting rich. Money. You getting mad? Money. Absolute, dude. This is fucking. Here comes the money. Dude. What, guys? What? Can't hear you. What? Ring. Oh, chat. Who could that be? Ring. Chat. Do you guys hear? Hey, hang on. Excuse me. I don't want to be rude and take a phone call, but hang on. What's that? Oh, over $50,000 in one day. 50,000 in one day. Over 50,000. You don't say. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, no. Love you too. Appreciate that. Thank you. Wow. Sorry. I don't like to be the streamer who takes phone calls when he's working, but that one seemed like an important phone call. That one was probably a worthwhile phone call for me. I apologize. It's rude to honestly, like in your middle of a conversation with thousands of other people. So my bad. Sometimes the money man calls and you just want to pick it up. And like I said, it's a little rude, but I think you guys understand. Hopefully they don't keep calling back today. But overall, started off horrible. So I want to break these accounts down just to kind of explain, and I want to get into some important concepts, but to wrap up my final thoughts on the Trump thing, basically coming into market open before we heard that CNBC interview, it was awkwardly at the point of like, okay, they can't both be true. Like what's going on? And in reality, they are both true. It does seem strongly as if Trump is talking to who he perceives to be the leadership of Iran. And then the news sources reporting from Iran, who they were talking to, are apparently people not in the know. So it seems as if there's almost a vacuum for power of who's going to be leading and who's not going to be leading. And it sounds as if the people who are not going to be leading were the people asked by Iranian media, were you talking to Trump? They said, no, we're not talking to Trump. But it does seem as if there's another person or group of people who are seemingly going to be in power. And that's in fact who he was speaking to. So before, when I was saying they can't both be true, they kind of can. And it just seems as if there's a big... I suppose, disagreement of who's actually leading Iran. But it does seem as if Trump was speaking to someone, which is exactly why we are recovering. Now, tying that back to the market, that's exactly why I believe we have everything we need for a Vanna rally. Guess what? The Delta is popping. Looking at the S&P 500, guess what? The Delta is popping. If you don't know what a Vanna rally is, it is an extremely important concept. And it really only happens in a unique situation where the market plummets, volatility spikes, and people buy a bunch of puts for protection or for just legitimate bearish bets. Then that's everything you need. Those are the ingredients for this recipe. The Vanna rally is when you explode to the upside out of that because people are feverishly getting out of puts. Vol drops like a rock. And then all of a sudden you have a pivot in the market makers who no longer have to have as much protection to the downside because volatility is contracting and puts are getting closed out. And then sometimes this gets to a crazy case where people FOMO in calls. So instead of the market makers being protected to the downside by shorting the underlying, in this case, the underlying would be the S&P 500, but they now actually have to buy the underlying to protect all those calls being bought. So all of a sudden it's just like a very rapid V-shaped reversal. It's a very aggressive Nike swoosh reversal, but it all has to do with the change of not as many puts and then a pivot into calls, volatility collapsing, the market makers switch it back, and basically it becomes a very positive feedback loop. So that's it in a nutshell. It's called a Vanna rally, V-A-N-N-A. Think Vanna White. Theoretically, it could happen to the downside. That's a very like to the point, I don't know if that's ever happened in the S&P 500. You can see it in certain other things, but most of the time that's actually going to be more so referred to as a gamma rally, whether you're pumping to the upside or to the downside. That's a different, I guess, Greek within the world of options of like what's the driving mathematical force to it. A Vanna rally is, you kind of need that vol crush. And why I say it rarely happens to the other side, like if at all, is because it's very rare for something to be dropping rapidly and for the vol to also be dropping. Generally, when you see something dropping aggressively in price, the volatility is exploding. So that's why I'm saying most of the time, and I can't even really think of an example, but I'm sure it does exist, where most of the time Vanna rallies are specifically to the upside. So that's what I am putting out there. That's my main mathematical stats options-based reason for this rally, but not just this rally. It's actually my overall argument of why I think this could actually bring us up to 67, 6,800. Like if this gets going, like this is a nice pump. Obviously we're up 2%. We're up 129 points. I'm talking to not just this upside gap fill. I'm talking about a Vanna rally could bring us all the way up to 6,800. So this might not just be a day trade. Of course, it could theoretically play out all today, but I will be continually monitoring how strong that put skew is. Shout out to Spot Gamma, by the way. This is where I track all of this information, and if you don't have it, but we're so put skew heavy, as in all these puts still need to get closed out. You can see this morning they're already starting to get closed out on SPX, SPY, NDX, IWM, and a little bit on the Qs. But we need to see all of these puts at least bounce back to the neutral point. So in terms of how much fuel, how much gasoline is around this particular fire, I see a lot, folks. I see a lot. So I just wanted to cover that. I feel like I'm probably the only one who is streaming that talks about it, because I think I'm the only one who streams in the world of trading that gets in like to the actual nitty gritty math of the situation, like trying to attack the situation with true empirical evidence rather than just fucking ripping it from my gut. So I believe I'm going to be the only one talking about a Vanna rally. The data that I'm getting is specifically from Spot Gamma. Shout out to them. They've actually taught me a lot about it. This is a great resource. If you're trading without knowing the options positioning, you're doing yourself a great disservice, but obviously that's a side note. So before we move on to me recapping how I put all that information together for my trades today, I do want to recap my trades. Are there any questions on Vanna rally? What it means, how it works, where can you see it, where can you not see it? Did I lose anyone in that conversation? Because the final little piece there that you really need to tie together, and like, hey, if you're busy at work, if your manager's yelling at you, if your kid's screaming, you need to tell everyone to shut the fuck up, because this is incredibly important, especially for people who trade options. The final little piece here is the proper way to play this movement to the upside. And when I say proper, I'm saying just like, hey, your odds of actually making money, this pop, I know there's many people, and I could actually prove it to you right here, degenerately buying 0 DTE calls. 0 DT is a little bit better. I'm talking about more like these swing calls. This orange line going up, that's a sucker bet. I'm not telling you to not be bullish. I am bullish. My bias is bullish. I am saying representing this bullish opinion by buying out of the money calls is stupid. It's dumb. It's retarded. I don't know what word I can say that's so offensive that your ears are going to perk up right now, but I'm fucking begging you to not do it. I am begging you to not do it. Let's break out Paint, which I think crashed my program last time. Here's Paint. Here is Paint. Where can I draw with this? We're doing a high risk drawing right now. As price goes up, volatility goes down. Volatility goes down. Your options premium, the value of your overall options play, is your intrinsic, how much in the money you are, and your extrinsic. Extrinsic value, part of that, it's all the Greeks. It is your theta. It is your gamma. It's your rho. It's all that. And part of it is your vega. So even if you are right and you're in this camp of price going up, inherently volatility is going to go down. If volatility goes down, the extrinsic portion of your options contract is going to be lost. This is most impactful with medium duration out of the money calls. So the logical question here is Matt, you're telling me to not get out of the money calls, especially in medium duration. What is a better option? What can I do? If OTM calls make you retarded, what makes you not retarded? Well, you could do at the money calls. You could do in the money calls. You could do a call debit spread, a CDS. So you do the at the money call, and then you would sell a call later, and then the two volatilities, measurements of volatility cancel each other out. You could do a put credit spread. So you have at the money calls, you have in the money calls, you have call debit spreads, you have put credit spreads. These are all things you can do to represent your bullish opinion. This is if you are bullish. I'm going to try to draw a bull here. Well, that's a cat. Fuck. How do you draw a bull? What does a bull look like? That's a dog now. Fuck. What does a bull look like? I gave it horns. Do they have ears too? I don't know how to draw a bull. Anyway, if you are bullish, at the money is the most degenerate, but it's still better than out of the money. In the money is a little bit more conservative. Call debit spread mathematically is probably the best way to play it. Put credit spread is a very high odds of success, but obviously the return is going to be less. And that's all in the world of options. You also have futures. You could also play it by going long NQ. NQ is heavily leveraged. You could go long ES. ES is very leveraged. With all of that stuff, you don't have to worry about the Greek values at all. So I just wanted to tie together this concept of a Vanna rally and also explain to you why if you are a person, you're like, I am bullish. I was told by some furu on the internet that I need to get out of the money calls because that's where the big money is. No, they are wrong. It is true in circumstances where volatility isn't collapsing, but volatility is collapsing. On a vol collapse, the worst thing you want to do is get out of the money calls. Get that into your brain. If vol collapses, you cannot be playing out of the money calls because if you are right and price keeps going, vol is going to keep collapsing. So as you're right and you're gaining delta, you're wrong and you're losing vega, and it cancels each other out. So there's just better ways to play it. And when I say this stuff, people always get mad. They're like, but it's bullish. It's bullish. Yeah, I agree. It's bullish. I'm telling you, my bias is bullish. I am not against your directional sentiment, your directional opinion. Where we disagree is in the manner in which to execute that opinion. Not all derivatives are made the same. Not all products are made the same. You need to identify the better way to use your toolkit, with calls and puts being like an important aspect. Yeah, I'm not wrong with that, but you have to understand the underlying mechanics that's going to move the value of those. And right now, even if you are right, unfortunately, you're gonna be wrong if you pick out of the money calls. It is a little less dangerous if you do 0 DTE, which I hate saying because that sounds like I'm telling people to play directional 0 DTE positions, which is never a good idea. And it's also fine if you think this is the overall bottom and you think a year from now we're going to be higher. Yeah, you could play leap. So the worst situation is a multi-day swing, like a medium-term swing out of the money calls. That is by far the worst thing you could be doing right now. Like I said, it is far better if you want to be degenerate at the money calls. If you want to be a little less degenerate, in the money calls. If you want to actually play it the way professionals play it, you would do call debit spreads. Or if you want to be more of a conservative professional, you would do put credit spreads. So I'm going to be a little bit more biased to the call debit spreads and the put credit. I'm saying debit and credit, two completely different things. A call debit spread and a put credit spread are most likely going to be your best options if you want to, no pun intended, play options. But I think futures are also a very good way to take advantage of it, and you don't have to worry about the Greeks. There's no Greeks in the world of options, so you don't have to worry about theta decay. You don't have to worry about vol crush or anything like that. You just care about the linear movement. So I just wanted to share all that before we move on and break down my trades of the day, because I do want to do a live trade review and explain the state of all my accounts right now. Before we move on, are there any questions whatsoever about the concept of a Vanna rally or why right now going long out of the money calls is not the best option? Any questions? Hey, Matt, can I still use leaps in this environment? Leaps technically aren't going to have as much vol crush just because they're so far away in expiration. So mathematically, that it's better. Like, it is fine. What about VIX puts? So basically, you're expecting the vol of vol to pick up. Yes, but the trading VIX in itself is its own beast. You have to get really, really good at the math side of basically vol crush. And if you're going to notice it, there could actually be really strange pricing mismatches between the different expiration dates on volatility related products because everyone already knows to fade it. And you have to be pretty deep in your trading career to kind of like ever actually notice it. But there are certain circumstances where further dated puts for the same strike could actually be less premium than closer dated because everyone is buying, everyone's praying and betting on that vol crush. So that is a way you could play it, but then you have to get really good at the timing of it if you're going to do it via the vol part. Some other guy had a donut question. I'm so sorry for missing that. Is Vanna rally the same as a gamma squeeze? No. They're related, and sometimes they look similar, especially if they go to the upside. But hang on. Where's my paint? I'm going to bring up paint again. This is a really good question. It's technical, so of course I need to bust out paint to explain it. Let me change the brush here. All right, we're going to do this. Okay, so the question is a Vanna rally the same as a gamma rally? And the answer to that is no. And the reason is because Vanna relates to Vega, which is the Greek derivative that's basically talking about the volatility, while gamma in a gamma rally is the Greek derivative talking about the rate of change of delta. So they're just talking about two different aspects of your extrinsic value. So remember, your options is your intrinsic and your extrinsic. Vega is in your extrinsic value. Gamma is in your extrinsic value. Theta is in your extrinsic value. Charm, rho, all these are the Greek values that make up your extrinsic value. So I'm saying they're related because they're just different variables in the equation making up your extrinsic value. But a Vanna rally has to deal with the crush of volatility. So you specifically see it when vol, the top right of your screen, is getting crushed. A gamma rally has to do, so Vanna rallies, I can't say this 100%, but assume it's 99% of the time relates to the market popping, like a big pop to the upside. A gamma rally cuts both ways. It's as easy for it to push to the upside as it is to the downside. So you can have a gamma rally that goes up. You could have a gamma rally that goes down, especially through the lens of the S&P 500. When you're talking about a Vanna rally on the volatility side, it pretty much you're only talking about a pop to the upside. So the reason for that, so remember, a Vanna rally has to do with the mechanics or the feedback loop from volatility getting crushed. A gamma rally has to do with people buying calls like no other, like just people are ripping calls. So as you buy calls, you're adding negative gamma to the system. So the market makers have to hedge out their books, protect themselves by buying the underlying. So as people are YOLOing into calls, they need to protect their books by buying the underlying, which obviously pushes it to the upside. On the flip side, it could also happen with puts. If everyone is YOLOing into puts, the market makers have to protect themselves by shorting the underlying, and obviously that's a feedback loop to the downside. So the gamma side has more so to do with people either buying a bunch of calls or a bunch of puts and the market makers protecting their underlying book, while a Vanna rally has to actually do with the unwind of a position related to volatility crush. So obviously in the first case of a gamma rally going to the upside and a Vanna rally going to the upside, they can actually play into each other and cause a really nasty feedback loop. So you could have a Vanna rally that leads into a gamma rally that makes the Vanna rally more extreme. And then all of a sudden you just have that serpent set up where they're just like sucking each other off. So they can play into each other. But if we were like to get really nerdy and specific about it, it would be like technically related to two different Greek values. One has a lot to do with vol crush, and then the market makers don't have to be as hedged to the downside. And a gamma rally has to, so basically Vanna rally has to do with unhedging, while a gamma rally has to do with new hedging, and it could cut both ways, while a Vanna rally is typically only to the upside. And now I am telling you that when I say it's to the upside, that's probably a 99% thing. I'm sure you could come up with a counterexample where a Vanna rally has happened to the downside. I just can't think of one off of my, like the top of my head. Does that make sense? That's a great question. Obviously, we are getting pretty deep into the weeds here, but sometimes that's where you can find little buckets of gold, is by looking deep in the weeds. Questions, comments on that before we do the trade reveal? Do you have any questions on Vanna rally, gamma rally, the interaction of the two, or why you should not be buying out of the money calls if you think you are experiencing a Vanna rally? Please do not confuse my statements with a gamma rally, because actually sometimes buying out of the money calls with a gamma rally is actually like the shrewd bet to make. My comments of don't get out of the money calls with the vol crush is specifically for a Vanna rally, and it's because of exactly that. It's vol crush. Where do babies come from? I think giant birds that they call storks, but I'm not 100% sure. What about doing a call credit spread? No, you're reversing it. You want to call debit spread. If you want to do a credit spread with a C, a credit spread, you'd want to do a put credit spread. A put credit spread is a neutral to bullish bet. A call debit spread is a conservative bullish bet. Yo, Matt, why are you always ill? You've been ill for 12 months. Fix your health. I'm not sick. I don't know what to tell you. How does this relate to the 3-point touching trend line? Oh, that's a phenomenal question. Phenomenal question. How does this relate to trendline ICT trading? Well, ICT Vanna rally trade. 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 3 times 3 equals 9. The square root of 9 is 3. The square root of 9 is 3. So that's exactly when you're trading. You're going to want to do the 3-touch system. Your voice sounds ill and very nasally. Dude, I'm here literally giving you top tier options education, and you're so fucking retarded that you want to talk about me having allergies or something. On it, like, are you autistic or something? Like, honestly, I'm actually giving away not the highest end, but like extremely high end options education, and you're so fucking retarded that you're like, why are you nasally? Like, you're the kind of fucking retard who ruins it for the rest of the class. Like, you're the one fucking dipshit. You know what? Fuck you. I'm actually going to kick you out of here because everyone else is being respectful and they're like excited that someone's giving them actual education, and you're so fucking stupid that you don't deserve it. So you're gone. Everyone else, you can stay because you understand that sometimes when someone gives you free education, you should shut the fuck up and listen. And then there's people who are just so fucking dumb in this world. Like, actually, this is why we need more bullying. I'm so sick and tired of like the modern age Karen mom who is against bullying. Like, we are getting real time updates from people of why we need to bring bullying back. Like, absolutely, we need more bullying because it's people like that that just didn't get the shit kicked out of them enough in middle school and high school. Now, I'm not talking about full-fledged assault, but when you do dumb shit like that, you should get smacked. And this is what happens when like too many moms fought too much about bullying, and now we have to deal with them in our society. It's a travesty, if you ask me. It is. Wait, y'all stop bullying? Dude, we need more of it. We absolutely need more of it. No, for real. Matt got divorced. I got divorced. If I did, I haven't gotten the paperwork yet. So I don't know if you guys have been talking to my wife, my potential ex-wife, but no, I don't know if I'm getting a divorce. If I did, I haven't been informed quite yet. But you never know. It could be a very exciting afternoon. I don't think she's divorcing me today because she does need a ride for me this afternoon. So just playing the odds of it, it would be kind of a rude look to ask someone for a divorce when like you're giving them a ride later that day. So I feel like if I do get divorced, the earliest would actually be tomorrow because like, I don't know, call me old fashioned, but like divorcing someone and then still asking them for a ride that day, it's a little rude. It's a little rude. So I have a feeling that she'll be able to read the room and wait till tomorrow. Awkward car conversation. It's like right at the end. It's just like, hey, by the way. Oh, brother. Folks, if you want to learn from me, get mentored by me, trade with me, GoonieTrading.com. And then if you want to trade with Lucid or Apex or really any of these, code Goonie. Up to 85% off Apex with code Goonie. And actually, I know this says 40%. What the fuck? What just happened there? Why is the camera getting cut off? Oh, hang on. There we go. I know it says 40% off, but your first two are actually 50% off. So code Goonie, 50% off on Lucid. Code Goonie up to 85% off the evals at Apex. I use both. I like both. As you can tell, I use many, many different firms. I like FFN. I like Lucid. I like Legends. I like Take Profit Trader. And I like Tradeify. I'm new with Legends, so I guess like don't hold anything I say about it to be gospel because I haven't gotten a payout from them. I'm still like learning how to use it, their rules, their customer service, that type of a thing. So thus far it's been good, but I just want to let you know this is the newest one that I've been trying out. I've been with Lucid ever since like mid-Feb. So I've been with them for about 6 weeks. I love it. I got a $6,000 payout yesterday, and I'm going to get another $9,000 payout today. I've been with FFN for even longer, and I finally just got my first payout from them over the weekend, $10,000. I actually think that was on Friday. Take Profit Trader, these are evals. I've been with them forever. And on Tradeify, these are evals, and I've been with them forever, but I've never gotten a payout from Tradeify. So I'm still looking to crack that particular nut here on these Tradeify ones, but we have some distance to go. Is your marriage going to gamma squeeze? I hope so. Just gives you something to wake up for. Do you look at DOM or bookmap in addition to options? Yes, I have a bookmap like right on one of my extra monitors right now. I have since I moved to a new place, I have a new setup. So I have a vertical monitor over here, a vertical monitor over there, and then I have two horizontal monitors stacked on top of each other. And the one on the bottom is the one that you guys are seeing, and the one above, I have options flow, bookmap, and then a chart of the NQ. So every single day, I care about for live trading, like scalp trading and whatnot. I love bookmap, so I'm going to use that for my short-term trades. And then for the other things, I care about key technical levels, psychological levels, and gamma levels, which inherently means I also care about options flow. So per day, I'm definitely looking at all of that stuff. Which kind of actually leads me to today, where I know you're seeing a lot of green on the screen, but it did not start there. In fact, when the market popped, I had a short position and I lost a lot of money on it because I didn't think that they were randomly going to announce the potential end of the conflict. So I had to start off the day very, very deeply in the red, and it did cost me my 5 Tradeify accounts. These Tradeify accounts are brand new Tradeify accounts because I blew the other ones out because I didn't have much buffer. And by the time I got like my fill, the slippage was hundreds of points away. So I lost the Tradeify. So these are brand new Tradeifys, which is why exactly what I made today is exactly what the accounts are up. The take profits, they almost blew out. I got really close, but I was able to save them. And then I traded them all the way back up to hitting 159, which means I passed the evals there. The legends, they're new. I passed those today. So even though they're new today, I also passed them today. 9K, 9K, 9K. The looses I've had for a while now. I am looking for a payout today for $9,000. And then that would be my third full round trip payout, which would be $45,000. And then I also got paid the 10 from FFN, which is the 7 PVs. And that means that on the month of March, I've been paid out $55,000. And then if you look at the split, like the 80-20 split, the 90-10 split, it's around the realm of like, I think I got paid out 48, and that's all for the month of March. And that's kind of where I'm at. So I passed the 3 legends today. I passed the 5 Apex today. I did well on the 5 new Tradeifys, and I'm chugging along on the FFNs funded, and I'm chugging along on the Lucids funded. But I know that's a lot of green on the screen right now, but I want to be the first to obviously let you know that it did not start like that at all. I was short around 5:30 or 6:30 whenever the bot went off. I took that short, and not only did the market go against me, but the slippage was horrible. At one point, these were all down by like $4,000 today. So I feel very fortunate that we had a decent continuation to the upside, and I'm hoping that that just holds, but it was a very, very brutal start to the final trading week of March. People are asking for options flow right here, giving it back, which this is kind of what came first, the chicken or the egg? Is price going down because options are going down, or are options going down and that's why price is going down? And a lot of the times they move in concert. So we're not necessarily going to ever get that answer. But we had a decent amount of bullishness up until roughly 10:24. And since then, a little bit of a hit to the downside. But overall, the momentum is bullish. And I know that because literally 5-minute, 10-minute, 30-minute, even the 4 hours trying to push right now, 5-minute, 10-minute, 30-minute, all bullish. And then the 4 hour is actually kind of pinned perfectly to that 50 EMA in the, I'm blocking this, in the lower right of your screen. So this is the last time frame that needs to switch over. Well, also the daily, but for my short-term traders, the 5-minute, 10-minute, 30-minute, all bullish, 5-minute, 10-minute, 30-minute, all bullish. Options flow was good. Mag 7 now going flat. NASDAQ did pop, gave it back, now going flat. Looking at the S&P 500, pop, gave it back, so netting out to kind of being flat. So I would say today, on an intraday basis, it is bullish, but not the most bullish we've ever seen. It'd be far more bullish if the delta kept ripping. So that's like the final thing of why I'm being hesitant to say like it's not amazingly bullish right now, because it's not amazingly bullish. We are up a decent percent, like just in terms of the relative close, but from market open till now, we had a really nice push. We gave some back, and the question is, where are we going from here? What is the P&L for the day? I don't know. Well, it's also like, how do you count it? Because like the eval profits don't necessarily count because you're just passing evals. So like I could give you these total numbers because obviously I was able to trade well enough to get these numbers. But I just want to be clear. This is not money that like I can somehow put into my bank account. In fact, the only money I can put into my bank account today is these right here. 165, 165, 165. I'll be able to take out 3,000 of these today. 333, 9,000. And then because of the 90-10 split, I'll get 8,100. So in terms of like realized money that's going to hit my bank account after today, 8,100 from Lucid. But that'll be like money that I can tangibly use as soon as market close today. Now, how am I doing? Like, how did I do with my active trades, though? I don't know. What's the total P and L? We'll find out. Yo, Matt, I want to know why you specifically go for the 150Ks instead of the 50Ks. Because I trade NQ, and it is really, really tough to trade NQ with a 50K account just because of the nominal value of the point movement. 66,763 is the answer, if you were curious over here. So according to ChatGPT, made 66.7K. So I trade the 150K accounts because I trade NQ, and just the nominal value movement of NQ. You have to get very, very lucky. I'm not talking about skill. I'm talking you have to be very, very lucky at first with a 50K account until you build out that buffer. So if you think you're lucky, have at it. But the 50K account is probably the best odds in terms of ratios, but you have to be trading MNQ instead of NQ. You have to trade the micro instead of the mini, and I just don't do that. But if you are a person who is okay trading the micro contract, the 50K account is actually a better like ratio in terms of profit and loss for you. So that's why. It's because I trade NQ. Do you plan to have some accounts in there that are full of your own money? I do for options. So all of my options accounts are fully funded accounts. I have in the past had my own fully funded futures accounts, and I'm thinking about doing it again after I get that payout from Apex, which I saw that a lot of people are asking. I'm still waiting. I wish I had an answer. It takes a while to do the KYC, the AML, and they check every single one of your trades. And then that's all happening when Apex had a lot of drama with their other affiliates. And also they rolled out a bunch of new products. So it sounds like as a company, they're just very, very busy. So no update on the Apex side of things. Trust me, folks, I wish I had an update, and I wish that update was, hey, the $1 million hit my account. But right now I am just patiently waiting, and it's part of the game. It just is what it is. So I fully understand running a business that sometimes things in business, you have to follow the proper regulations. When you're talking about this size of the money, like government agencies get involved. I mean, they kind of get involved in anything past $10,000 in the US. And then when you're talking over six figures, they really get involved. And then when you're talking over seven figures, they really, really get involved. So like you just have to make sure you're crossing your I's, crossing your T's, dotting your I's. It just takes time. It just takes time. And I think if the SIM funded prop space wasn't so mature and developed, I'd probably be bored, because back when I first started this, your only real options were Top Step and Apex. So I'd be like, I guess I have to trade on Top Step, which I don't really like Top Step. So that would be a bummer. But right now, I have to honestly say, it doesn't really like bother me that much because like my brain is, I suppose, already from day in and day out, it's consumed by what's going on with all my other accounts. For example, as of tonight, I'll have a total payout on Lucid of 45,000. Just last week, I got 10,000 from FFN. So in terms of like my mental capacity, it's just very, very much tied up with the other ones. At this rate, you're going to be requesting another milli on the payout by the time the first one goes through. How sick would that be? Obviously, there's quite a bit of potential for large payouts with these other firms as well. I'm not saying it's the exact same, like they have different styles, but the potential is there in one way or another. So how crazy would that be? What is the advantage of a live account? Why risk your money when you use prop firms and follow a couple rules? Taxes. It's taxed more favorably. So if you do well in a SIMDA-funded environment, to my understanding, and this depends where you are in your situation. In my situation, you are paid as a contractor, so it is normal corporate income tax for the corporation or your LLC or whatever. While if you are trading your own futures account, it's actually really, well, not really, but it's pretty tax advantage. And on a relative basis, relative to being paid as a contractor, you do end up, if you make $1 million in your own trading account versus $1 million into a SIMDA funded payout situation, you're going to be more net ahead with your own account. But with that being said, my argument is why not just do both? Why not use the extra leverage and payouts and all that good jazz from the SIMDA funded world, and then also on top of it, trade your own account? Because if you're that confident in your system and you're trading so much, like 10K is cool, 20K is better. If you could just, all you have to do from 10 to 20 is literally the same trade, just copy trade it to other accounts. Like, kind of, why would you not? Did you say you took out 95K in March? No, 55. 55, sorry. I probably misspoke. 45 from Lucid and 10 from FFN. So 55 in payouts, of which I think 48 is mine. So I think 48K is hitting my bank account for the month. And hey, the month isn't over. It could be another 15,000 from Lucid this upcoming weekend, and then another 10 from FFN also this upcoming weekend. So in terms of payouts, it's at 55, but there is a chance for it to go to 80. If I did that math right, 15, 10, 25, 68, yeah. So if I can really keep my shit together this week, it could go up to 80K by the, hey, I missed you. Did you have a good day? Have you had a good morning? Have you had a good morning? This is the lead quant at my hedge fund. This is honestly the best cat in the world, dude. You guys might think you have the best cat, but I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but I actually have the best cat in the entire world. And she's right here. Her name is Piper. She's sweet. She's kind. She's beautiful. She's the best looking cat you've probably ever seen. And that's because she's a pretty princess. And she knows it too. She's not the most athletic cat, though. Don't let her hear me say that, but in the realm of athletic prowess, she could use a little bit of training. She could definitely use a little bit of training. That's like Trump talking about his cat. Well, if he had a cat, it would still be at best second to mine. I have the best cat in all the land. My cat didn't try to end my life. Well, that's just life of having a cat, man. Sometimes they have to prove to you why they're predators. It's not the end of the world. It happens. If your pet cat hasn't tried to take your own life a couple times, do you even really have a pet cat? That's the real question. They're just, dude, they're predators through and through. Are you going to move your tail, please? We are running a show. We are, dude, this cat, she's like Jaws. Dun, 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 dun. What are you doing? She's like a little submarine, that tail that just keeps coming through. Dude, just chill. Take a nap. We all know you're here just to take a nap. Who are you trying to fake out? Who are you trying to fake out? Folks, we're kind of getting near the end, I have to admit. I suppose... Is anything on? Well, hang on. Let's go to the 5 minute. Let's go. I mean, I already sold all my options. I already locked in all my future. I'm kind of done on the day. I was able to take advantage of it. And I think personally for me, I don't know how it is for you guys, but I don't want to risk somehow giving it all back. And I know sometimes there's this sentiment of oh, as a day trader, you're just doing it over and over and over again. To me, I'm of the opinion that a good day trader, a good scalp trader, when they hit it big early on, what's the point in continuing to just add additional risk? If you made money, you made money. I understand psychologically where if you make easy money early on, you're like, well, that was easy, I might as well go make more. But I think a lot of mature traders actually end up doing the opposite. They make their money and they're like, sick, what's for lunch? Let me go grab a coffee. Let me go for a walk. Let me hang out with my cat. Matt, do you think going with a 50K account and trading MNQ until you build the buffer and then switching to NQ? I mean, that's a viable strategy. You'd probably want at least probably at least $5,000 worth of buffer before trading a NQ contract. Based on just recent volatility of NQ. Obviously, that's going to change. If things get more volatile, you're going to need more buffer. If they get less volatile, well, you're not going to need as much. But if 50K accounts are your favorite accounts, you definitely should be starting with MNQ, or you just have to get lucky as hell on your first couple trades. Matt, I'm sorry, but my cat can catch a ball of receipts in midair. I don't think Piper could do that, but she does play fetch. If we throw her Tori, she'll go grab it and bring it back to us, which is pretty sick. You want the flow before we go? Pretty flat there, picking up. Mag 7 pop going flat, and then the S&P 500 showing a little bit of life. Right here, this low at 1045 might be probably a higher low of the day, if I had to guess. How much should you be risking on the 150K account? It very, very much depends on the rules of the firm that you are personally with. So some have DLL, some have MAE, some have none, and you could just risk the entire buffer. Unfortunately, I wish there was a perfect number I could give you. It just doesn't exist. My cat has 2 extra toes, one on each front paw. That's pretty cool, actually. Chasing those trend lines, dude. It's just where would I be without trend line trading and ICT? I probably would be a poor little boy. But ever since I found those amazing, amazing mentors, it turned my life around. It turned my life around. All right, folks, that's it. Before I let you go, like I said, if you want to trade with me, if you want to be mentored by me, if you want to hang out in a really cool community of like-minded traders, mainly focusing on futures and options trading, GoonieTrading.com. If you want to trade with Lucid, 50% off. I know it says 40, but your first 2 are 50% off with code Goonie, and also with Apex, up to 85% off with code Goonie. And in all reality, any of the major firms, TPT, Tradeify, FFM, whichever ones you see me trading on, code Goonie is going to give you the best deal. So on any of these, if you use code Goonie, and you can't see Apex, but Apex is obviously right there, code Goonie, it's the same code across them, GOONIE, if you want to give that a whirl. Other than that, obviously, it's been a pretty crazy day. I know we had some technical issues connecting to the Rumble server at the beginning of the day, but we were able to recover. And not only did we recover the stream, but we recovered the accounts. I started off today brutally red, and then with a little bit of luck and a lot of just discipline and keeping my shit together, I was able to lock in around $66,000, which based on just the current state of all accounts, I'll be able to request another $9,000 from Lucid today. I got 6 6,000 from them at the end of last week. I got 10,000 from FFN at the end of last week. I'll get another 9K today, bringing my total payouts to 55,000 in the month of March. And then if I trade well this month, it could be another, or this week, to wrap up the month, it could be another 25, which would obviously bring me to $80,000 in payouts thus far. And that's just for futures. Options, I mean, I guess no, I'll save the option stuff for the Discord. But if you're in the Discord, you already know what my positions are. You know that I'm already in the green. And in fact, we're looking pretty good over there. So happy Monday. I appreciate all the good vibes. Remember, stick to your trading plan. Remember, respect your risk. When things trend decently in your favor, by your own definition, don't hesitate to put that stop to break even. Other than that, just don't get tilted. Don't oversize. Don't revenge trade. Don't try to, squeeze lemonade out of something that ain't a lemon. Stick to your trading plan and you will survive the gauntlet that is trading. That's what I have for you. I appreciate all the good vibes. I'll catch you guys on the flippity flip. Peace.